right, JJ, second video response to your video responses, which I'm now calling On the Lack of Atheist Culture. Makes it sound scholarly, huh? Yeah. No, atheism has nothing positive to offer. Positive in the sense of something that has being, no moral code, nothing, you know. So, so, uh, and as an atheist, you have to stare meaninglessness in the face. You have to stare the possibility of purposelessness in the face. It takes a certain kind of courage to be an atheist, to be a serious atheist. It takes a certain amount of courage. Now, that's not to say it doesn't take courage to be a theist as well. I mean, a God is an awesome thing, you know. It's just a different kind of courage, but it does take a particular kind of courage. I guess you'd call it an existential, for lack of a better word, existential courage to. Well, that's become a meaningless word. Throw that word out. But a certain kind of bravery, to be an atheist. So, in any event, where then do we draw our morals? And this is commonly asked questions. I mean, there are a couple answers, I suppose, but I think you're faced really with just the conclusion that they're innate. They're innate in nature, in human nature. Just like the ants, they know what they're doing. We're actually quite a lost creature. But the ants, they know what they. Actually, I guess you'd say they have religion, huh? I mean, on your kind of working on your kind of definition of religion. I mean, they know what they're doing. They know how to build their society. Everybody has a role to play. They do what's good for their culture, for their society. Actually, I think, just to digress for a moment, we always say we're closest to the chimpanzee in DNA, and we compare ourselves to the chimpanzee. Sometimes I think we're much closer to the ants. I mean, we're more chaotic than the ants, but we build these huge societies. We assign rules to ourselves. We have armies, huh? I think the chimps, they attack each other sometimes in little groups, but we form armies like the ants do. And there's even a species of ant that cultivates mushrooms underground, so they farm as well. And of course they go out and they ravage the countryside. Of course they're in balance with nature. When they go out under the canopy of the rainforest and they eat everything in sight, they're actually cleaning up the rainforest, and it's all in balance. We are completely out of balance. There's something radically wrong with us. We're destroying the whole planet, poisoning the whole planet, and how to solve that is our major challenge. I think we're busy, distracted by other things. But in any event, enough of that digression about how we're really ants. So I mean, we have to conclude that. From the atheist perspective, I would say that there's something innate, and we apply rationality to it. I mean, in my family, there was very basic, simple rules that you could develop a whole ethics from, and it was based on freedom. Now this is an opposition, as you pointed out. There's an opposition to free thinking and an opposition to Islam, because this is based on the concept of individual freedom. Basically the idea is you have the freedom to express yourself and to be as you want to be, so long as you do not harm others and you do not infringe upon their freedoms. And this is the basic core ethic of what I would call a free-thinking morality. And I think it works well. You can extend this, you can expand this to the group level, to the national level. You could say that no group should infringe upon the rights or the freedoms of another group or harm another group. No nation should oppress another nation, as is set forth in Islamic thought. So it's very easy to extend this, and basically it's all. I mean, they sum it up by saying the golden rule: do unto others as you would that they do unto you. I mean, that's one way to look at it. But also just not to infringe upon the freedoms or rights of others. And everybody has the right to express themselves and to be what they want to be. This is the opposite than the imposition of a morality. I know you had talked about the imposition of a morality, so it goes against my natural grain, um, you know, to deal with an imposition, because an imposition of a morality does appear to me to be a form of oppression. Um, Now, the organic growth and spread of inherently sound morality is fine with me, and I think that, well, you know, uh, I know that Islam spread very quickly across the world, and I think Islam had a superior ethical code. Certainly for women, it granted them more rights than I think in any other culture of the time, at least, well, probably worldwide, you know, and I think it was adopted and spread organically. So the organic spread of a good morality is fine. It's just the imposition that is the problem. Um, Now, you had said that too much free thinking leads to license. I disagree. So long as there is a respect for the freedom and the rights of others, and the and the principle of doing no harm to others, not harming others, um, I don't think there's a problem with license. I think that license comes from other things. I think license comes from people ignoring these things, you know, and actually going out and harming others, you know. It's that violation of that principle. Um, and I think that really can be a universal right of man, or universal principle by which humanity can guide itself. Um, uh, Now, of course, we need laws, you know, certain prohibited actions, prescribed actions, you know. I once had an argument with my father. My father was a private detective, you know, and he worked with a lot of law firms. And I had an argument with him when I was very young. I must have been 17 years old. And he was a rather cynical detective, you know, cynical private eye. And we had this argument. He said that man was inherently evil, you know, that man's innate nature was evil. And I said, well, no, I believe man's innate nature is good, you know. Little did I realize how complex man's innate nature is. I was too young, you know. Anyway, he says, what do you mean, what do you mean, what do you mean? It's inherently good. I said, it's inherently good. He says, you wait there, I'm coming to get you. He drives by, he picks me up, and he drives me down to some law firm, and he walks me into their law library. This immense library with books up in, you know, in shelves up to the ceilings, long corridors of law books. And he said, my son, he says, if man were inherently good, there would be no need for all of these books. You wouldn't see a single book on the shelves, you know. The reason all these books are here is because man is not inherently good. He must be told how to be good. So, you know, there's something to that point of view. You know, I'll grant you that. You know, and in a sense, law is imposed. But you know, if we come back to this core principle of not harming others, and analyzing things rationally, and analyzing things in terms of, if everyone were to behave like I am behaving when you consider an action, if I'm going to take an action, and I ask myself, and this is what my family taught me to do, to ask myself this: if everyone took this action, would it be good for society? You know, would it be good? And we can, you know, we can expand that to say the species, or we could tie it into some of the natural theories of why morality is innate in human nature, whether that's evolved or what have you, you know. But I won't go there right now. It's taking things to some other abstract theoretical level. But you know, to ask ourselves this question, you know, if everyone were to behave like this, would this be good? Now, of course, this not doing harm to others doesn't take into account not doing harm to ourselves. That's a different perspective, you know, and I think self-destruction is another issue. You kind of have to view yourself as equivalent to others in that regard, because a lot of people will just destroy themselves, and in the process end up not realizing that they're connected to others, will actually end up, you know, harming others and harming society as a whole. But I think these principles are sufficient. And I think that imposition causes conflict. In fact, a lot of the conflict you see now between atheists and Christians is because in the United States, atheists and Christians, is because there are there are groups trying to impose their morality on others. And it causes a conflict with the atheists fight back. So there you have the imposition of morals actually causing conflict and being detrimental to society. My 10 minutes is up. I will make another video, my friend. Thanks for watching these.